Hello everyone, welcome to Stocker Team, the Investors channel. On this episode, we'll be talking about one of the biggest ever IPO in the world, and perhaps, and more importantly, the biggest IPO to ever be executed in the continent of Africa. And I'm not talking about any other company that you don't know, but you already had this news everywhere. It is the Dangote Refinery petrochemical company will be listing on the Nigerian exchange, which is the NGX, in the heart of Lagos, Nigeria. This IPO perhaps will actually change the narrative about Africa, the African financial markets, and the future of energy production and marketing and energy efficiency and sufficiency in Africa. So Dangote has finally said it will be going on IPO next year, 2026. The company is already working with the Nigerian Stock Exchange and all the financial regulators in Nigeria, and this IPO could happen towards the middle or before the end of next year. There's a lot to unpack, but I have 5 major things to actually talk about this IPO. And of course, if you're just joining us, please give this video a like, subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss any of the next video that will bring to you. And of course, this video is brought to you and presented by stockerdom.com, the website for retail investors to get insights on how to invest and build a sustainable portfolio. Let's jump right into it. So the Dangote Refinery will be listing, like I said, by next year, 2026, and the plans are already in place. According to the Chief Executive Officer, the founder of Dangote Group, Aliko Dangote, said the company will be listing about 10% of his shareholding, the outstanding shares in Dangote Refinery on the Nigerian Stock Exchange, which will actually open up ownership in the largest oil refinery asset in Africa, and perhaps, which not necessarily perhaps, the largest single train refinery in the world. So this IPO will perhaps value Dangote Refinery between 20 billion, which that's what has been touted, but from all indication, this valuation could actually be revised upward. And if Dangote is actually listing close to about 10% of the shares outstanding in this company, we could actually see this IPO becoming the largest IPO. And I'm going to actually share the key facts why this IPO is the largest in the history of Africa, and no other IPO or no other company that's listed publicly will actually surpass this milestone. So in the real context of things, the largest refinery listing, Dangote is already looking at processing up to 650 or upward in the region of 600,000 barrels per day of crude oil, and the company is already gearing up to provide all the petrol or even diesel and every other crude oil related product that is being consumed in Nigeria, in West Africa. This company is already exporting to the US, to some part of Europe, and this company is already supplying the likes of Saudi Arabia with a whole lot of petrochemical product and so many other fertilizer products as well. So there's a whole lot going on at this complex, located in the outskirts of Lagos, and this is really a big one for this company to actually list on the NGX. So as an investor, what exactly should you actually be looking at? What is in it for you? So Dangote is already saying investors will get more or less like a cherry on the top for actually investing in this IPO. He's already proposing that when you actually invest in this company stock, either through the IPO or the secondary market, after that the company has listed, you will be able to get your dividends in US dollars. Yes, you heard me right. So the company is already working out a modality whereby investors who do not necessarily want to hold the naira, or they don't want to actually have so much exposure to any other currency for investing in this stock in naira, they can actually get their dividends in USD, which has really got a whole lot of people talking like, how is this going to work? okay, does this actually benefit the naira? Should this actually be allowed? But in the real sense of things, if you actually look at it from a whole lot of other angles, this actually benefits not just investors or shareholders in Dangote Refinery. It will actually benefit the entire market and the Nigerian economy by design. So, for instance, Dangote export a lot of petrol, export a lot of petrochemical products to different parts of the world, and this company gets in US dollars for all of those exports. So it means Dangote has the real supply of USD to actually pay all the dividends or even much more. So that keeps the naira more competitive, because if Dangote should pay the dividends in naira, that also put much more pressure on the naira, because a whole lot of the investors or shareholders or even foreign investors who have invested in this IPO or directly in this company in the secondary market might want to actually take out, or not even might, they will surely want to take out their dividends and not necessarily reinvest it. So if they don't take it in USD, if the dividend isn't paid in USD, they now have to actually sell the naira, which further much more put much pressure on the dollar. So in the real sense of things, this is a very, very beneficial plan for the Nigerian economy, for the forex market in Nigeria, which has seen some stability, and these huge dividends that will be paid out once this company starts paying dividends will actually benefit the company, the country, and not just the company's shareholders. And now, how much is this IPO looking to raise? From all indication, this company might be valued close to the tune of 100 billion. So if that happens, if the valuation is revealed forward to about $100 billion, that could actually see 10 billion being raised through this IPO. This will actually more than double or triple or quadruple all the IPOs, or the largest IPOs have been done in the continent of Africa. So if you look at history-wise, the companies who have actually listed in the past and they've done the largest IPO in Africa. The largest IPO in the history of Africa was when Steinhoff Africa Retail, which is ticker symbol STAR on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange, they listed about 1.2 billion. $1.25 billion was actually raised. And that was the largest ever IPO in the history of Africa. The second largest was when Vivo Energy did dual listing on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange and the London Stock Exchange, and that actually raised just to the tune of $819 million dollars. However, if Dangote actually lists with the valuation of market cap close to the tune of 100 billion, that will actually make Dangote to be the largest ever, and it's going to be very, very tough for us to actually see any company listing or having this kind of market cap at the IPO, or even raising so much money of this nature with this valuation. So as investors, a whole lot of people are already talking. This is going to be once in a lifetime opportunity for so many people. IPO has its shenanigans. IPO has its own more or less complexity. So from a whole lot of angles, a whole lot of people actually have to understand how IPO works. It's the first time a company is raising money in the public market, in the stock exchange, and a whole lot of holder investors or early investors in the company will have the opportunity to sell their shares, not necessarily immediately or a few days or a few weeks after the IPO, but a few months after, which we call the lockup period. But IPOs generally do very well. Most IPO do very well during the launch date and few weeks or days after, but a few months down the line, when older investors actually take out their money, this stock will actually more or less, sometimes some IPO actually crash by about 70%. Facebook or Meta actually crashed by more than 30%. The likes of Amazon, Google, Microsoft, even Nvidia, many of those companies, after their IPO, they crashed. and now they are one of the largest, if not, Nvidia is the largest company in the world. Meta is one of the largest. Google or Alphabet is perhaps the second or the third largest. Microsoft is the second largest. So at the end of the day, many companies actually still do well after their IPO, but not necessarily a few months after the IPO, because that's when investors who have invested in this company for so long, several years, when these companies are in the private market or they were not public, they will actually sell part of their shares, and they are allowed to do that without any encumbrance. They might not necessarily sell everything, some might actually exit totally. But for this IPO now, where do we stand as a Stocker team? We believe this is not just a once in a lifetime opportunity for investors. This is something that will actually transcend the Nigerian economy into the African ecosystem, the African economy, and also outside of Africa. So we are likely to see participation of investors from across the world, not just from the African continent or the Nigerian economy. We are likely to see a whole lot of institutional investors who actually want to have exposure to emerging markets, energy sector. Dangote might actually be perhaps one of the largest constituents of some of the ETFs, some of the mutual funds that this institutional investors actually manage. So we see this IPO performing better than so many other IPOs for the first few weeks. Yes, there will be pullbacks during lockup period, expiry period, but we see this IPO doing better, and that's what we do at Stocker team. We actually provide all the insights, all the ideas for retail investors to get much more idea about how to actually value companies, how to even value IPOs, how to actually understand how IPO works, and what to actually look out for when a company is coming public. So as soon as we get the prospectus, which is more or less the detailed background information about these companies, revenue, the cash flow, cash at hand, the debt pile or the debt profile, if they have bonds, a whole lot of other things, their operating expenses, their margin, a whole lot of things that we are going to be looking at. So stay tuned on Stocker team. We'll be bringing you much more information. So what do you think about the upcoming Dangote IPO? This is just one of the many series of videos that we'll be doing. So what do you think? Is this something you're excited about? What about the the USD or the US dollar dividend payout? Is this something that is exciting to you, or you actually see it as something that is not necessarily a big deal? But it's left for everyone to make their choice, and that's why you can join Stocker team community. Go to stockerteam.com and choose to be a member, to be one of the premium members, where you can get much more insight. We'll be bringing you more videos. Till the next one, take care and bye bye.